Well, hello again, guys. Tony, thank you for taking the time. I think this evening for you in Canada.
Morning for you.
Morning, yeah, indeed. Tony, could you just give us a rundown? We've seen Frank Karacic just had to pull out with injury today, replaced by Jacob Italiano. Are you expecting any other injury pullouts from the squad, particularly, I guess, Mo Toure, given that Danish media reported he came off injured this morning?
Yeah, unfortunate for Fran. The last two windows he's had to pull out as a late withdrawal. I think I've stated this before that I do expect this to happen. It's unfortunate, but injuries occur, and we always feel that it's possible before getting in camp that a player has to withdraw from the squad. It gives Jacob Italiano a chance. We're trying to see as many players as possible at the moment, in particular, as it's they're not qualifiers, they're preparation games or friendly games as they're called. So it gives us a chance to look at as many as possible before the World Cup, and he's playing regularly. He's been fit and healthy, so I look forward to seeing him. And on Mo, we believe he'll be fine. He did come off in the game, which is true. But it's a shoulder injury. I think he fell awkwardly, and the medical staff over there and Mo himself have assured us that he'll be fine, and not just for the game, that in a couple of days he'll be able to train.
Anna.
I hope you're well and you enjoyed our beautiful Chile, CommBank Socceroos.
Yes, I did.
Obviously, you've been a talking point in the past. Alex Robertson, you've called in the past. You've talked about how he made himself, or did make himself, available for, national team duty with the Socceroos. What's changed? Are you able to give us a bit of insight into and what you think you can potentially bring into camp with you for the first time?
Yeah, he's obviously been a talking point since I've taken on the job, and I remember in my first press conference I was asked about him, which I understand. What's changed? Alexander's made himself available for the Socceroos. He wants to play for Australia, and he informed us of that, I'd say, about a month ago. And since that time, we've been monitoring him. Obviously, the medical staff and physical staff here, conditioning coaches, have been in regular contact with him in terms of understanding what he's doing, and obviously the support that we try and give all the players that are on the list. So he was added to that list, and I just felt it was a good time to see where he is now. I know he obviously has no minutes under his belt. He has a situation at Cardiff which I need to understand a little bit better from him. But it's a chance to really see his current level, how he is in our environment, and then, which we hope for all players, that they get game time, that we understand where his base level is without football, and then if he gets the football, which we anticipate he will, it gives him an opportunity to be selected for the World Cup. And if not, then obviously we have the Asian Cup that follows, and with all of these young players, we hope that there's a bright future for all of them moving forward in the next couple of World Cups.
Adrian.
Hey Tony, hope you've been well, mate. Just talk us about this camp and what you're hoping to get out of it, just because obviously the World Cup's there next year, and how far advanced are you with your sort of training locations, and just how much will this do for the team to sort of have these matches in these conditions?
Yeah, thanks for the question. It's a wonderful opportunity. So I'm actually grateful that we've got these type of games, playing two host nations, playing in these conditions. Obviously we have to play in altitude as well in the States, which is a different challenge which we may be faced with at the World Cup. Quality opposition, a lot of international experience, players that are playing regularly at a very high level. So it's a fantastic test, fantastic challenge, but also an opportunity, a great opportunity for us to play these teams and show what we can do. And as we build towards the World Cup, in terms of trying to build relationships, behaviours on the park, combinations, can be challenging and more difficult when we keep trying players and they're getting this opportunity for the first time. But that's the exposure we have to give, and that's the pressure that players will be under when it comes to the World Cup. So we're trying to expose as many challenges as we possibly can. Obviously, when players come in for the first time, that's also something new for them. So we're very excited by these two games, and we know that it'll teach us a lot. It'll show us a lot in terms of where players are individually, and how the squad is building as we try and increase the depth and obviously increase the visual that we get with the players, as many as possible before we make that selection for the World Cup.
Marco.
G'day Tony, thanks for doing this. Just on the attacking players, there's a few guys who are in the last squad that aren't here, Segicic, Milanovic, Bodic. What was the reason there, and do you think that they're are they still a hope to come back in future windows?
Yeah, they are. They were selected in the September window where we gave a lot of new players an opportunity, a lot of young players a chance to show where they currently are. So we have a good understanding of that, and we'll continue to monitor them and see how they grow from now up until the end of the season. And then with the camps, I'm open to selecting them again, of course. But the reason was really it was a chance to look at some other players. I've seen now what they can do. We'll keep watching them, and hopefully they're getting more minutes and their performances can stay at a high level. But it's a chance to look at a few other players now, and then we'll see for the future camps. We've got November, we've got March. But for all of these players, I think it's a great chance when they get called in. We gave a couple of boys debuts in the last window. Young Nick Milanovic, wonderful for him and his family, and hopefully the other boys that missed out in Botic and Segicic, they'll get their chance one day to get their cap as well. But it's also a chance for other players, so we've got boys that I haven't seen before, Nick D'Agostino, Cam Devlin, young Alexander as well. So, we have boys that, we want to keep the door open for everyone, and then, hopefully, as I said earlier, make a tough selection come World Cup, and then the ones that miss out, you hope that there's a chance for them in the Asian Cup and beyond that.
Julian.
Okay, I think that's working. Tony, you just mentioned in one of your other answers about exposing players to challenges. Don't know if you saw much of the Ryder Cup recently, but obviously the sort of the visiting team was sort of, subjected to sort of pretty rowdy scenes from the crowd. Is that something that you're concerned about for your players when you get to Denver, or is that just part of football and part of the preparation for the World Cup?
Well, we haven't discussed that. I'm not anticipating anything like that, but we don't expect or want any hostility. But in terms of fans getting behind their team, I think it should be like that. I love it when we're in Australia and you've got 80 or 90% of the fans that are supporting you and making it as difficult for the opponent as possible and becoming a 12th man, and I'd expect that the other way around. And it's part of the challenge, and it'd be something great to embrace and prepare us for what may come in the World Cup.
David.
Hello, good to see you again, Tony.
Hi.
Daniel Arzani's in this selection. What do you hope coming into national camp gives him in his progress as he also gets used to being overseas again?
Yeah, I think it's very similar to young Alexander as well. Very limited game time. We saw him play a cup game, which was a little bit false because I think they won 15-0, but he did get some game time and scored some goals. But from the moments that we've seen, he's at a big club with high expectations, and obviously they have squads of 35, 40 players. But from what we've seen when he's come on the park, he looks fitter, he looks stronger, he actually looks in good shape. And it's just a chance to have a look at him, and then we'll determine and compare him to the other boys that we have in those positions, because ultimately all of these games, obviously because they're not qualifiers, you do judge them slightly differently, and you open your mind to just having a look at players without being really detailed on how much training are they doing, what are their loads in particular, and also game time and how are they performing. So, you kind of, each individual case, look at it differently in this period, which we've been afforded this possibility by qualifying automatically. We want to make the most of that, and I want to see whether Daniel Arzani from June, where he finished the A-League, is a better version of Arzani in October. And if he is, that's promising for us. And then we want to see that he can get game time before June to see whether he's a genuine possibility for the World Cup.
Well, I'll go to Joey again, and then if you have any further questions, please raise your hand.
Tony, just a couple of the senior contributors not on the side. We weren't expecting them in this camp: Jackson Irvine, Harry Suter. Have you received any updates from them, particularly maybe Jacko? Is he a chance for the November international window? And I imagine you're looking at some of the A-League players as well.
Yeah, Joey, I think Jackson had a little bit of a setback, I think now a couple of weeks ago. He was on the bench for his team and had a bit of a setback in part of the warm-up with a little niggle with his quad. So that's kind of set him back a couple of weeks, where I'm sure he would have been available for the November window. But now really we have to go day by day and week by week and see whether he can get some continuity in his training and get some game time and be available for his club. And if so, we'd love to welcome him back, because it's been a while since we've seen him. We're hopeful for November, but after this little setback, I'm not sure how realistic that is. And with Harry, he's still working through his rehabilitation, so obviously it's a long-term injury. When it's around the Achilles, you have to be really careful, and I think he's being very diligent in his rehabilitation. We'd love to have him back, of course, but and I'm sure his club would as well. But he's going through the protocol required to hopefully come back and stay fit and healthy, and be a good option for his club and obviously for his country.
Anna.
Yeah, so just another player who's in there, Jordy Boss, has been Player of the Month in the Eredivisie. I think it's the first time an Australian's done it. How excited are you by, one, what he's doing, and two, what he can become, given the sort of limited output you've been able to have with his injuries and that? Yeah,
very, very excited. We've been monitoring his performances, and he seems to be getting better and better, and he's gaining that confidence, maturity. He's playing, every home game is is an expected win, big crowds, big pressure, and he's starting to really handle that well. And that's what we need for the World Cup. So the more players that we have that can get through moments and don't panic when they have to suffer for periods, they can come through that and still show their quality and make a difference in the front third. He's doing that, and really pleased for him, and we want to assist and support him in his growth and help him become a real important player for the national team.
Marco.
Oh, hi Tony. I'm just wondering, what did you make of what happened with Nestri the other day? Obviously, no player would like to get taken off in the first half. What did you make of that, and will you speak to him about that when he's in camp?
I think it's just part of experience as a footballer. He's experienced a lot in the last 12 months. He's getting better. He's maturing. I saw the game, so that's a coach's decision. He decided to take him off. But I think the most important part of that is not what happened there. It's what happened the week later. Because I watched the game after that they won 2-1, and he probably played and moved as well as he has for the last couple of weeks. So there was a reaction, albeit I don't know what was said between the two, but he was very positive, very good in terms of his performance, and he really contributed in how he played to help the team win 2-1. So I think that's the important part, not so much of what happened with getting taken off, because that may not be the last time that happens to him.
Adrian.
Yeah, you're saying just watching this through, but like, how good is it as a coach at the moment, just being able to sit back and just seeing player after player put their hand up? Obviously, last window we had Paul Izzo have a great game, and then you got Matty Ryan just killing it in La Liga with Levante, and then you just got example after example of players doing well consistently. Mitch Duke missed the last camp, but the camp before he started against Saudi Arabia. Like, just sitting back, when it comes to picking these squads, how is it hard seeing so many people put their hands up, or is it easy as a coach knowing so many people are putting their hands up? Just tell us about that for you at the moment.
Yeah, there's a bit of both, It's easy and it's hard in the same breath, because, when I think of what Mitch did for us in two very important games, against Japan when he came on, he made such a difference. And against Saudi, he assisted a goal and scored a goal. You can't buy that experience, but we're trying to give that experience to these young players. Now, I, like you and like fans, want that experience to jump from 0 to 100 with these young players overnight. But you've also got to remember that Mick Duke was also 20 and 21, and now he's mid-30s, and he can still produce that performance against Japan and Saudi. We need these young boys to get to that level, but that doesn't just happen overnight. So it's exciting that these young boys are coming through, and I mentioned it many times, there may be young boys at the World Cup, yes, but they will be there because they can contribute, because we believe that they can contribute in that moment. And the ones that aren't, there should be a bright future for a lot of these young boys. And what you'll find is that the players you're talking about now, there will be more. It may be through the A-League, it may be through other European competitions that someone puts their hand up by their performances. And again, it may not be for the World Cup, but they may seriously put their hand up for the Asian Cup or the following World Cup campaign to come. So overall, it's just positive for me and the coaching staff. There's nothing negative about it. It's exciting, and you do get different values from different players due to their experience. We had Mo Toure and Nestori play the second game against New Zealand, playing away from home, performing that way, and now you want to keep trying to give them the experience, because the World Cup is at another level again, to see whether they can handle that or be able to contribute there. So Mo's still trying to find his feet by playing regular football, which he hasn't done. He's had a history of breaking down after every 2 or 3 starts. So is that player ready to play 3 games in 15 days in a World Cup? So we hope that that's an option for us, a decision to make come the World Cup, because there is still some time to get minutes. And Nestori, which I hope continues, is showing that he can back up game after game, can have a setback, can maybe not perform as well as he has. Coach takes him off. There's a setback there mentally, and 3 days later he turns around. I watched the game. For me, it was important to watch the next game. I believe 12 months ago, Nestori doesn't perform that way. So he's maturing, he's getting stronger physically and mentally. That doesn't happen with every player in the same manner. Some take longer, some can do it quicker. But it's just exciting, as you said, that we're trying to find the mix between the experienced players, and we are fortunate and we are grateful that we have this opportunity, because there are not serious qualifiers on the line, that we can try and expose these players, these young boys, to our environment. We try and put them under pressure, try and put them with the expectation, and see how they are now, and then if in 20, 30 games time, they're a selection headache, that'd be great.
Final question, Dave Weiner.
Thanks. In the States, actually, Tony, there's a bit of pressure on Pochettino, a bit of stress around the form the side has showed, and that these are 2 important friendlies they've got. 8 months out, how are you feeling with the preparation, the build-up, the cadence of where you wanted your preparation to be? How would you evaluate where you're going, your build-up to this World Cup?
We're happy with the progress. You're always looking to do it better. You're always searching for that extra detail or something that we can do to make a difference. We just finished important qualifiers that has brought us to the World Cup. So that was one part gone, and now we've decided to go down a path where we will bring many different type of players, players that we haven't seen, to judge them in our environment. Now, that can stop you maybe in your combinations, getting a clear understanding in some respect, but we view it the other way, that actually we can learn something and get a great reward out of it, i.e. a Paul Izzo that showed, yes, you can rely on a Paul Izzo, you can rely on a Nestori, you can rely on a Mo Toure. So we feel that these learnings are far greater than saying, let's just keep the same squad, build this continuity, instead of opening the doors and looking for more possibilities. So that's the path we've gone down. We feel that will help us come May, at the end of May, when we need to make our decisions. And I, as I said earlier as well, I'm hoping there are more players. I'm hoping there are more from the A-League. I'm hoping more players. Cammy Devlin, is now playing regularly. Not that he wasn't last year, but he's in a team that's winning. He's contributing. He deserves a chance. I haven't seen him before. I anticipate and would like to see more of those boys in the next window. And then we have to start putting it a little bit together in the March window, and obviously, make that vital call come the World Cup.